So it's been about a week since I last updated, so it's about time for an update now. We're kind of getting, well, we're pretty much finished now, so I'll just take you over the final sort of finishing touches to the car. It's been a really difficult week the last week. It's just been finishing off the last bits and bobs. The car's been a real pain, so yeah, I'll go through that in a moment, but it really just felt like 2 steps forwards, 1 step back this week, but got there eventually. As far as the subframe and kind of the engine refresh, that's done now, so I'll take you through the final bits of that, and then I'll talk about the sort of kind of next steps, because we've got a few months to go until the show season still, so it's still a few little bits I want to finish off. But as far as kind of the main work is done, we're pretty much finished now. So so I guess the scary thing is I always keep a log of what I spend, keep all the receipts and that sort of thing for the future history of the car, and I had a little top up earlier and it was scary, so make sure no one can hear. It was about 1,300 quid I spent getting everything done, getting the engine refreshed, new subframe, sort of full rebuild at the front, but I think it's well worth it. It will last another 20 years, so like I say, I'll just go over some finer details now. So the front end refresh is all sort of done now, the engine's all painted, new subframe in, it's been run up. It was a real pain this week because I run the engine up just to bleed the cooling system, check for leaks, that sort of thing. Left it running in the garage for about sort of half an hour, 40 minutes, and I come back out and the garage smelt really hot. The car was really hot. Had a look inside the car and there was smoke coming from the carpets, which was a immediate concern. I looked underneath the car and the catalytic converter was glowing red hot. It had got really hot. So at that point I wasn't quite sure what to do, whether to push the car outside to prevent any fires or anything like that, switch it off, and I was worried if I'd switched it off I'd get a bit of heat soak up into the carpet. So what I actually done was bring the idle speed up and just rev the engine for a few minutes. That cooled the catalytic converter down and I turned it off. So I was really concerned for a few days, trying to rack my head why the catalytic converter overheated like that, what caused the problem. And after a bit of diagnostics and researching, looking at the car, what actually happened was I had some Bosch Super 4 spark plugs in here, which I'd only bought probably a few hundred miles ago, but I'd taken them out a couple of times to paint the engine, to do a couple of other things, and what I must have done was crack one of the insulators, because I started the car up in the evening in the garage here, and you could just see the blue glow of arcing around the spark plug. So that was causing the engine to misfire at idle. Obviously when that happens it dumps unburnt fuel into the exhaust system, which ends up into the catalyst, and then the catalytic converter basically becomes a little furnace. So that's why it got so hot. So I went out today, bought some nice new NGK spark plugs, and it runs spot on now. It was difficult to tell that it was misfiring before because it always runs a little bit lumpy at idle. Like I say, it's a Cooper SI conversion. The fuel pressure is uprated. It's got 1.5 ratio roller tip rockers on it, and the Jan speed exhaust system as well. So it's naturally a little bit lumpy at idle, and I just didn't really pick that up. But it wasn't lumpy, it was misfiring, and that was causing the problem. So anyway, new set of spark plugs in there, run it up today, and it's absolutely spot on. Sounds really nice too. Other issues I had, so run it up and I kept finding just a couple of little drips of coolant on the floor. I was getting really frustrated by that. It was coming down this right hand side of the engine here, and I just couldn't find it. I wasn't sure whether it was a water leak, the hoses. I went round it, I found a hose clip loose round on the side of the thermostat here on the bottom, that was just dripping down slightly. So I think that was a problem, sorted that out, tightened it up, and I haven't found any leaks since. I also bled up the brakes, and again, like I say, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I had brake fluid leaking on the brand new wheels, which I was really concerned about. Really didn't want to take off the powder coating. That in the end turned out to just be a bleed nipple that wasn't seating. So again, sorted that out now. So that's no longer a problem. So yeah, we're pretty much there. Tightened up the hub nuts today, give it a quick run up and down the road, and it's all ready to go. So I'll just go over the next steps now, really. So one thing I want to get done in the coming weeks is a gear knob in the car. So as you can see, the steering wheel on PL is really nice. Actually, it's in really great condition. That must have been recovered at some point, because there's no way that steering wheel's done 104,000 miles. If I compare it with the gear knob, which I've taken out the car now, as you can see, the leather is quite well worn on that, and that probably has seen a genuine 100 odd thousand miles. So found a company on Facebook, I've messaged them, I'm going to send that in over the next couple of weeks, and they're going to get that covered, and they're going to re-stitch it as well in black stitching. So I wasn't sure whether to go for the original beige stitching to keep it as sort of standard, but my thinking is the beige stitching is going to look grubby really quickly, so I've asked them to do it with black stitching, and that kind of matches up with the rest of the stitching on the car. So the gear lever gaiter and the handbrake lever gaiter has black stitching on it, but not the gear knob for some reason, so don't know why Rover done that. I've got to sort out the front arch as well. So I think, as I explained in an earlier video, actually I've taken off the arches on the near side front, near side rear of the car. That's basically so I can get it closer to the wall in the garage and just make myself a little bit more room. So the arch is up on the side here, and I'm sure this is a common problem with all sports pack minis once they get a little bit older. The bolts which hold the arches in, they're captive in the back of the arch, and they screw in the back there, and they've got a nut on the front. Well, that just snaps off, it just corrodes and snaps. So a few places do them, Mini Sport do them, Wooden Picket do them as well. They do replacement studs to go in there, which are made out of stainless steel. So I need to order them up, get them fitted, and then obviously when that goes back on, I've got a genuine new arch trim there to go on, which come from Mini Spares. So yeah, we're getting there. And I think final sort of step for the winter, you can see I've got the rear arches off on the car as well. Again, that was just to reduce a bit of hanger rash and damage while it's in the garage, make a little bit of room for myself. But inside the arches, just it's a bit horrible and grubby. So I'll clean them out over the summer, but I just want to rub that back, body colour it, paint it, lacquer it, just make that a lot nicer. So yeah, that's about it. What I'll do now is I'll just upload a little montage of all the sort of pictures I've taken of the car while I've been doing the front end rebuild. Yeah, if you want to stop, pause, have a look at those photos, maybe use them as reference, it might come in handy to you. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you next time. Cheers guys.